join us in the studio to tell us what they made of that announcement that Nabco was officially going to end on October 31. For many of them, it left them in a limbo because they had no idea what the next step was, especially because for them, they say they were promised permanency ahead of the 2020 general elections, which is why many of them voted to retain the NPP in power so that they can have a place in either the public sector or the private sector. Now, months down the line, they're asking why all of a sudden the scheme is ending, even though we had been told from the beginning that this was a 36-month-long scheme and was supposed to provide temporary employment for some of them, or at least for all of them. And maybe for some, eventually they'll move on to permanency. A number of them have complained that they have not received up to 8 months of the allowances, even though the termination letter that was released on the portal indicated that, plans were being made to pay them for October and for September. And so many questions have arisen as a result of this letter that has been put out, and of course the announcement by the president and subsequently the secretariat. So we have the CEO in the studios with us this morning. Today is his birthday, interestingly, so he's clad in white, celebrating another year. Dr. Ibrahim Anyas has joined us. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Pleased to be here.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
How's your day going so far? It's quite early, though.
Well, it's quite early. The day has just begun, and I think it's starting on a good note. I was expecting to see, the birthday cake in the studio, but it has.
We were hoping you'd bring us a surprise, by the way. But let's see, who knows? Maybe towards the end of the conversation, they just might be, we'll drink tea maybe to celebrate.
Tea is good.
All right. But before we even get into this conversation, and I know that many of you are tuned in as well, remember the hashtag is TV3Newday. We're streaming on Facebook on the TV3 Ghana page, and also we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Find us and drop your comments, your concerns, your questions. Dr. Anyas Ibrahim is here and he will respond to all of that. Before we start this conversation, let's go back to the Independence Square. That was sometime in October, I think on the 18th of October, where officially, it was 17th, where officially the president announced that the Nabco beneficiaries were going to be deployed into some 7 modules. This was after the 1st of May, which is when it was announced officially that Nabco had begun. Let's take a look at what he said specifically before we come back to Dr. Anyas Ibrahim.
With words from Holy Scripture. In Psalm 118, verse 4, verse 24. Verse 24, and I quote, "This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it." Today is a very happy day for me. It is a day when we begin the process of banishing the specter of desperation and restoring hope and dignity to our youth. Vice President, ladies and gentlemen, you'll recall that on Tuesday, the 1st of May, May Day, 2018, at the Great Hall of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, I launched the Nation Builders Corps program, a program designed to assist in the public sector delivery needs of our country. In addition to creating employment avenues and opportunities for young people who hold diplomas or degrees from accredited tertiary institutions, the scheme would engage the raw talent of our graduates and equip them with skills through a process of value addition and training. However, as has become the norm with every bold initiative proposed by this administration, this program, predictably, was not only ridiculed in certain quarters, but also met with pessimistic and cynical, skeptical comments. with some going to the extent of urging graduates from our nation's tertiary institutions not to register for the program. The 100,000 young men and women who are present did not listen to the loud cries of the cynics and Jeremiahs. They rose up to the challenge, signed up for the program, took part in the rigorous selection process, and are passing out as Ghana's first Nabco trainees. I salute all of you, young men and women, for taking this innovative step to lay the foundation for your future careers and at the same time contribute your quota to the growth and development of our nation. The 100,000 Nabco trainees will be deployed in 7 critical aspects of our economy. That is education, revenue mobilization, agriculture, health, governance, digitization, and the private sector. They are going to assist in the realization of government's vision of an educated population, an industrialized, robust, and well-managed economy, the delivery of good governance, and for the sustenance of all these, a reliable, skilled, and efficient workforce. Additionally, the Nabco trainees will be engaged in a structured work and learning program environment. For every 4 weeks of work, 1 week will be dedicated to acquiring soft future employability and work readiness skills. Within 3 years, Nabco trainees would have obtained 36 weeks of solid training and value addition to enable them transition smoothly into the world of permanent work. By this, we would have also addressed the very issue that keeps our graduates out of the labor market in spite of their educational qualifications. The managers of the program have struck up a partnership with the Council for Technical, Vocational, and Educational Training, COTVET, and some universities, both domestic and foreign, for the validation of the content of the learning programs so that the trainees receive appropriate certification of their skills and training for their deployment to the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ghana Education Service, Ghana Health Service, Information Services Department, Local Government Service, Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and the Ministry of Trade and Industry. In Nabco, we have planted the seeds of the growth and future of our country. I am in no doubt whatsoever that Nabco will succeed. When the current trainees are about to exit the program, present concerns over their future will appear moot. This is because trainees will be equipped and will thrive without recourse to Nabco planning their exit arrangements. Nonetheless, the scheme has well constructed and clearly defined exit routes. Our public services and institutions, having benefited from the services of Nabco trainees over the 3-year period, will naturally have opportunities that allow the retention of trainees who have justified their value. Another pathway is the building of an entrepreneurial base among the trainees. Ministry of Business Development and the National Entrepreneurial and Innovation Plan are involved with this exit pathway. The goal is to have 500 business leaders mentoring 500 Nabco trainees under the Enterprise Ghana module. A dedicated fund amounting to the equivalent of their third-year allowances is to be made available for them to start their cooperative ventures. An equivalent matching fund will be sourced from a private investor to complement the 4.5 million CD fund.
All right, so that is President Akufo-Addo speaking at the launch of Nabco at the Independence Square. This was on the 17th of October, 2018. Dr. Anyas Ibrahim, CEO of Nabco, is here with us, and we have a lot of questions for you, but thank you so much again for joining us.
I'm happy to be here. Good morning, and good morning to all the nation builders. It's quite refreshing listening to the premier nation builder, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. It brings up, memories of the day, and 3 years on, I think that is a good conversation to have this morning.
Definitely, and unfortunately, not too many people are happy with the end results of Nabco, because clearly the president said that by the end of the 3 year, any conversation about Nabco not being successful will be moot, because then you'd have prepared enough people for the world of work. Give us an overview of how Nabco has been for the last 3 years.
So this is very interesting. I mean, listening to His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, I felt like this interview was done because the very foundations of the scheme that later became known as the Nation Builders Corps clearly defined opportunities that His Excellency was interested in provisioning for the graduates of this country. And I'm sure on the back of the 2016 campaign, you'd remember that clearly one of the challenging issues of the campaign was the issue of unemployment among the young people of this country. The New Patriotic Party made a pitch, and the pitch was an agenda for jobs. And being a responsible government, having been elected in 2017, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, His Excellency the President, decided to keep his word. And one of the initiatives which was to deliver as a vehicle for the young people was the scheme called the Nation Builders Corps. 100,000 opportunities, 100,000 opportunities for young people, young graduates of this country. Over a period of 3 years, the scheme has managed to service 117,615. It's a lot of graduates who have come through us. The scheme, very successful, if you ask my opinion, because all the issues that we set out to do, and if you refer to the mandate that was defined by President Akufo-Addo, it clearly stated that if you wanted to simplify it, the aim of Nabco was to enhance the employability profile of these graduates so that by the time they got to the exit point within the 3 years, the scheme would address the very issues that kept them out of the labor market. Issues to do with work experience, issues to do with their skills, issues to do with professionalism, issues to do with the very intrinsic values that they bring to the table, which are for a lot of the companies or even employers out there, the feeling was that there was a sort of mismatch between what tertiary institutions sort of offered, trained and brought out, and what the labor market had to offer. And so for me, a very successful program, 117,000 who have come through us, and for the very first time, if you followed what we did in 2018, a lot of the people who applied, 146,000 graduates who applied to join the scheme.
Okay, that's how many people applied on
146,000 applied to join the scheme. And out of this number, we managed to actually interview over 138,000. And if you got the feedback from our portals, it stated that over 90% of these people had never had an interview experience. And these are the essential building blocks to getting into the labor market. You need to have some interviewing skills. You need to be able to have certain requisite skills. And so a very successful program. 3 years on, over 49,000 of them have managed to transition into some kind of career pathway as defined right from the onset.
We'll come to that 49,000.
And so I feel that it's a very blessed day to be having this conversation. And I believe that for a lot of the Nabco trainees who you, for example, refer to, these are the trainees who have come through to what we call the career pathway transition process. Okay. So these are trainees who would have had on roll in the third year of the program after others had exited. And clearly, you can see the career pathways that were defined. And I can talk through a lot of them to assure you that for a program that did not exist prior to 2016 and haven't come onto the employment landscape, it's been a great success for this administration.
Okay, you mentioned a few things. We'll get into that 49,000 because for many people that's highly contestable, and we'll come to it. But since you've mentioned 117,000 people, the plan was to only admit 100,000.
That's correct.
Okay,
so this is
what
how
are the
it works.
reasons why you went beyond that, and how did that work?
So this is a very straightforward process. So we had a budget year on year for 100,000 graduates. Fortunately, in line with the promise of the scheme and by the president, Nabco trainees were supposed to be prioritized whenever there were opportunities in the public sector for employment. And so early on in the scheme, even from 2018, by November 2018, after we deployed, the very first recruitment I recall was from the Ghana Education Service. Okay. And a lot of our trainees deployed then, over 27,000 within Ghana Education Service, got the opportunity to apply and be hired by the GES. And then by February, I think we had local government and others. And whenever opportunities presented and they left, what we did, it afforded us the opportunity to be able to replace those who left the scheme. So as we continued with the replacement, over the period of 2 years, we managed to service over 170,000.
So when was the last time that you admitted more people onto the scheme, knowing very well that it was going to end after 36 weeks?
So we had a definite cutoff point because by the nature and design of the scheme, the value addition process would not have allowed us to continue doing that in the third year. Okay. And so for us, just within the third year, we stopped enrolling newer trainees. And it was for a very good reason. For those who had not had the benefit of the earlier trainings and the skills development, the last 6 months or the final 6 months of the scheme was supposed to be a structured partnership and a structured work and learn program to assist our graduate trainees deal with their exit pathways and do their exit profiles. And for someone who had not had the benefit of the earlier program, that was going to be a very difficult one. It was an opportunity. And so we had a cutoff point. Yeah.
Well, I'm asking this because I remember that in November 2019, November 13, that's when the finance minister spoke, and he was giving us the 2020 budget statement. And he gave us a figure of the total number of people who had been on the schemas at that time. It was 97,373. At that point. And so at that point, that is when we added a lot more before the third year.
Before the third year, that's correct.
But at the end of the day, recently we heard the president speak, and he said that some 49,000 of these beneficiaries had moved on to permanent employment or entrepreneurship. We spoke to these young people, and they're saying that, first of all, how did we arrive at this 49,000? Because some of them even got off the scheme out of frustration because they were not receiving the allowances on time. There was a lady who says that she got off after a year because she did not receive her allowances. Are we calculating all these people as part of those who may have gotten permanent employment, or is that a separate figure as to how many people got off and we don't have any details of where they are at the moment?
So I find that there's a slight misrepresentation of the issues. For anyone who enrolled, and this was at will, onto the Nation Builders Core program, the very understanding was that you lacked an opportunity to get work to do, to get employed, and you joined the scheme as a graduate to enhance your profile to be able to transition to something better. I have heard, on a couple of occasions, on various networks, that the numbers that we present appear to to be challenged in a way.
We challenged it here as well.
Well, and I find that astonishing. That I don't know of any Nabco trainee who would exit the scheme to go and just sit at home. And I'll tell you the reason. Every Nabco trainee, because of the systems we deployed, would go onto their personal profile if they were to exit the scheme and then say, for example, I'm leaving Nabco, I'm going to decline. And it's not a one-stage process. It's about 3 steps you have to go through to the exit. So it would the portal would ask questions about why you're leaving. Is it for permanent employment in the public sector, in the private sector, where your location is going to be? And if you still indicate, yes, you would want to leave, we would want to have details of where you're going or what you're transitioning into. And the pathways have been very clear, and we haven't had any feedback at our end that suggests that someone would have left Nabco out of frustration to just go and idle and do nothing. That will be quite something.
But they weren't receiving their allowances, which is why they hopped off.
I don't know.
And so are you saying
allowances.
that every single one of them ticked that they had gotten permanent jobs, which is why they were leaving? Or they were going into entrepreneurship?
The feedback you'll have, if we had the benefit of the data, would suggest that most people transitioned into permanent employment in the public sector, and then yet others would have had private sector engagement, but the majority of them in the public sector. And then you had a few of them who haven't made some savings, and also because they wanted to gain some essential experience from the scheme, would have left to do their personal businesses. But then, if you listen clearly to what His Excellency the President said, the Nation Builders Corps allowed people with diploma, higher national diploma, to join the scheme. And so over a period of time, there were a lot of them who saw, having been exposed to the world of work, that there were opportunities if they could enhance their qualifications. And so you would have those who would have left for further learning and further education. And so it's quite a misrepresentation to suggest that someone would have just left Nabco to go and sit at home and do nothing.
So every single person filled, the questionnaire on the portal indicating that they were leaving because of that. That's what I want to put across.
Except for those who go AWOL. The
people who went AWOL, are they part of this 49,000?
They cannot be part of it. I'm just going to explain what happens. So you would have a trainee who decides that I have had employment, I wouldn't bother about declining. Unfortunately, such a trainee equally cannot linger on and hide behind, to continue receiving, because we have a payroll system that is based on timesheets and monthly validation. So unless your module implementation partner in place of work validates that you have been at post for a qualifying period for pay, you would not be able to benefit. So for every single Nabco trainee who enrolled appropriately, and I say appropriately because our data is incontrovertible. It's something that can be subject to any sort of interrogation and without fail. If you went onto the program, you would have access to a personal portal. And on that portal, even if you were owed money by Nabco, it will tell you the reason you owed money, timesheet not submitted, disciplinary action, you have obtained permanent employment, whatever the issue, you have all those details. And if at any point in time, because you sign on to the contract at will, you decided to opt out, we politely, out of courtesy, ask them to decline, because that is the only way we can also account to the public on the numbers.
So at the moment, away from the 49,000, I mean, you're saying that we have about 68,000 that remain on the scheme at the time that it ended. But we heard from the president, and he said that some 73,000 out of 92,000 would get some permanency. Let's just take a quick look at that video of the president giving us some figures as well before we come back to Dr. Anyas Ibrahim.
To the various modules, anybody, Digitize Ghana, Civic Ghana, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the security services, etc. So that program will be on, and by October we'll see a significant deployment of most of them, but not all, because not all the people have responded. And so far, 1 year I responded to questionnaire as to where you want to go, 72 out of the 90-something thousand. Wondering the people who are being the focus of the program, because we want to be able to do another program at the end of October when we start, when it comes again, to be able to absorb more and more and more people. So there is a big plan and a big program being laid whereby that deployment will take place.
This was the president speaking sometime in August. This was quite recently, when he was at Ash FM. And he said that some 72,000 people were going to get permanent employment. But now you're telling us that 68,000.
I listened to the president and I was part of the team. And I don't think the president said that. By the third year of the program, the Nation Builders Corps activated what we call the career pathway transition process, which is what is referred to as the questionnaire. And basically, the questionnaire guided them to fill their exit profile. Okay. So it's sort of clear, it was to provide clarity in your thinking over the period of 3 years, having been exposed to the world of work. Have you found something that interests you in the public sector, in the private sector, within entrepreneurship? Or something that you find within the vocational space, or something that could aid you if you went for further learning, your career path, your career as a career path. And by the time, based on this clip, by August, what we had was that over 72,000 people up to that point had filled the career pathway.
Okay.
And for us, these were people who had given an indication that they were still very actively engaged with the program. For others who did not, out of the over 92,000, what it suggested to us was that they had moved on to something, because their portal would eventually indicate that they have left the scheme, and they have left the scheme for a range of reasons.
Out of 92,000?
Out of 92,000.
And not the 117 that you are quoting as well?
No, we can't. No, I think you get... Over a period of time, by the third year of the scheme, we had stopped adding to the numbers. And I'm saying that from the very first enrollment of 100,000 all the way to the very end of the scheme, over the period, we have serviced 117,000 graduates. But they still leave, and I'll tell you what has happened. Even as of the date the program ended, or even before the program ended, the 68,000 we allude to, if I had to open the portal, you'd realize that even by that number, it has declined, because day in, day out, people find employment opportunities, and then they go to the portal to decline.
So how many do you have on the portal now who are waiting?
Fewer than 68. So you'd have about, last time I checked, which was yesterday, was about 67,000 plus would be waiting. And so the numbers would continue to reduce. But at the time the president spoke on this matter, the over 72,000, when we went back to clean the data on those who had completed the profiles, we realized that close to 1,500 plus of them had done double exit profiles. And so when you clean the data, it came back within the very limits that for example, the scheme anticipated. And then by, I think that by the very final month of the end of the scheme, what we had was under 70,000 of the Nabco trainees who were still with us. And when we closed the scheme, we got in touch with everyone to clearly define or remind them of the very next steps that they had to follow on the program. And so for me, there is no contradiction. I think that there is a little misrepresentation of the issues. The Nation Builders Corps came to do a very specific thing. In the president's address at the inaugural, it was stated that the very first cohort would come on board, and by the time they exit, this is what Nabco should have achieved, and we have achieved those. Now, in looking forward, I believe that since Nabco started in 2018, for the period of 2019, 2020, 2021, we have had close to 160,000 plus national service exiters. And these are graduates who, a lot of whom would still be out there looking for opportunities. And for us, the scheme is meant to make this easier for graduates through the value addition processes and skills enhancement and enrichment that we do with them, so that they can move on by themselves.
Employers always ask for 3 years experience anyway, so why give them 3 years experience and then let them go home?
They are not going home.
Where are they going?
So every Nabco trainee will know that this was a two-tier process, and you heard the president. Nabco, the vehicle, would offer you the skills training and offer you the work readiness and essential skills to be able to allow you to fit into the workplace. Now, where do you go to work? Every Nabco trainee, through a structured partnership, ended up with a module implementation partner. It could be a ministry, it could be a department of state, it could be an agency of state, or it could be a private partner. A lot of private businesses took on Nabco trainees. Now, in all these places, what has happened is that for those who justify their value to the very institutions that they work with, whenever opportunities come up, they get the priority in terms of recruitment, because there is no way anyone, it almost doesn't make sense to go out there recruiting someone who has no experience, to someone who has worked with you for a period of 3 years.
But they admitted that even for places where they were working, and Oliver, if you could help me pull up that video, we spoke to one of the Nabco beneficiaries from Educate Ghana, and he said that he had a degree in education, a Bachelor of Science in Education. But even when they were on board Nabco and they were serving these institutions, they'll be there and they'll bring in some other teacher trainees to come and understudy them. After they train them, those are absorbed into the system, and the Nabco trainees and beneficiaries are left sitting down. Same for GRA as well. We heard from GRA too.
This is the whole point that I make. The module implementation partners, the MIPs, are the employment providers. That is where the work is. And having done their 3 years in Nabco, the feeling is that the exit preparation, which is the talent pool that is created post-Nabco, still allows employers, that is the MIPs, to take from within the talent pool and then offer them opportunities. But what you have to pay attention to in terms of the design is that the fact that Nabco was running did not create an exclusive club of Ghanaians where other people who were looking for opportunity to work would be denied that
But the
opportunity.
president said we should give them priority.
Yes,
He
they have been given priority,
which
which tells you that for a period of 3 years to have 49,000 plus graduates relative to other graduates who have come through the system being hired through Nabco should tell you that they have been given priority.
There's some 68,000 more who don't have jobs. And these people have sat there and watched as other people were given jobs in the same sector. These are people who were exposed to, information from these companies. And you think that at least for that reason and for the fact that they had gained some training and experience, you'd hire them, because that is what we're told, that they will be given priority.
Essentially what the module implementation partners will set out to do. But you heard the president. You cannot have a situation where, even without the requisite qualification, even without the sort of value that the employer requires, expect someone to just issue a writ and say, hire someone because they have been part of your organization. And so a lot of the Nabco trainees would find that over a period, and the process still goes on between now and the end of the year, for those who do not opt out and stay within the talent pool, and they have been notified of this by the exit, they still have an opportunity through their module implementation partner. You heard Ghana Revenue Authority indicate that they should stay on because they're going through their processes. A process to hire someone in the public sector does not happen overnight.
Could we not have done that earlier?
Well, I don't think that,
especially because we knew that we're going to end Nabco in October. Could we not have done or started the process earlier so that by the time that Nabco ends, there would have been a smooth transition into these fields of work?
Yeah, but the processes have been going on. I'm sure on the very last day, the 31st of October, someone would have had information that they have been hired by their employer. Because for all those, as I speak to you, for all those, for example, in 2018, who came onto the scheme for the Hill Ghana module, as we speak this morning, there isn't a single qualified nurse, registered by the Nursing and Midwifery Council, who is still with Nabco. In fact, we should have closed down the module called Hill Ghana, and the simple reason would be that what we set out to do with the module, you remember the sort of agitations that nurses put forward in 2018, even declining to join the scheme because they felt that once they joined, others will be prioritized over them. But we kept our promise. They stayed on the scheme, and every single qualified nurse through clearances from the Ministry of Finance, have been hired by the Ghana Health Service.
Every single one of them on Hill. How many did we have on Hill Ghana?
Qualified nurse.
How many did we have on Hill Ghana?
At the start of deployment, we had close to 8,000 on Hill Ghana. As I speak to you,
8,000 in Hill Ghana
in
from
Hill
the
Ghana,
beginning
from
till
the
now.
beginning.
Okay.
As I speak to you, we have less than 2,000, and I'll tell you who those are. These are people with lesser qualifications and not registered by the Nursing and Midwifery Council. And these are people the Ghana Health Service itself doesn't feel they have an obligation to hire. But for anyone who the Ghana Health Service had an obligation to, who joined Nabco in 2018, they have all left the scheme. Ministry of Local Government, a lot of the people we deployed under the Civic Ghana module.
Let's finish with Hill Ghana before we even move on, because I want to know that you're saying that about 2,000 of them didn't have the qualifications that the Ghana Health Service wanted?
That's correct.
But there was a criteria for signing on to Nabco.
The
diploma,
criteria,
HND, degree, and
exactly.
all of that.
And
so
these
if
people
all
have
of them
diploma.
met that requirement, why are we now saying that for some reason they did not have, the cutoff requirements for gainful employment?
They met the requirement to join a graduate employment scheme that was supposed to enhance their skills and enhance their employability profile. They met that. That is for Nabco. But by the exit arrangements with the Ghana Health Service and the Public Services Commission, these are not qualifications that are currently recognized for public sector hiring. So, for example, if somebody presents a qualification from a private institution that is not recognized or publicly accredited, right? They have been trained, and they are Ghanaian. They have been trained, and they are Ghanaian citizens looking for an opportunity to build on their skills so that they can do something meaningful for themselves. We at Nabco felt it was a very good opportunity to take on those people. We have done that. 3 years on, there are a lot of them who have left and not hired by Ghana Health Service to work in private establishments and then do locum in other areas. But what I'm saying is that for any qualified nurse from a publicly accredited institution who came to us through the Ghana Health Service, deployed by the Ghana Health Service to work under Nabco, there isn't a single one of them.
Okay, but then, I mean, for those who may have to go back to school to get that qualification, they're saying that you have not paid them for about 8 months. I'll let you hold on. We'll speak to one lady who got in touch with us. She's from Hill Ghana, and she speaks on behalf of the others who were also part of Hill Ghana. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Hello?
Good morning, Auntie Bella.
Good morning. Okay, so please reduce the volume of your TV set because you give us delayed feedback, please. And listen to me directly on the phone. So tell us, you have been complaining for quite a while now that beneficiaries on Hill Ghana have not received their stipends for the last 8 months. True? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello? Yes, please.
I'm saying that you've been complaining. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm saying that for the last 8 months, those of you who were on Hill Ghana have said that you have not received your stipends. True?
Yes, please.
Have they told you what reason has been given? I mean, basically for the delay? Hello?
Yes.
You'll have to reposition yourself. We can barely hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
And I'm asking that, did they give any reason as to why your allowances have delayed?
No, please. The two that are doing verification since April to date.
What kind of verification? Hello? Okay, unfortunately, we cannot hear you. We'll see if we can reconnect. But please speak to that. Why have they not been paid for 8 months?
I can speak to the issue, and I was trying to get data for you on individual Hill Ghana categories. So the Hill Ghana trainees who still are of the program, by January this year, it was realized that a lot of hiring had taken place. And through due diligence with the Ghana Health Service, we had a feeling that we had to stop the module and then interrogate a few of those we still had on the scheme. In fact, just rightly what you asked from earlier on, the feeling was that, all Hill Ghana trainees should have left. based on the arrangements we had with the Ghana Health Service, until we realized that actually there were a few Hill Ghana trainees who had other qualifications that did not meet the sort of mark that the Ghana Health Service required. So we stopped payment to Hill Ghana, requested for data from Ghana Health Service. Through that data, we realized that for all qualified nurses, they had left us, and so we shouldn't pay any qualified nurse. Then we went further. Why were we not being able to release the
This
the
was
rest
when
of them?
exactly?
Right from the new year, January,
Okay.
January. And then we realized that actually there were quite a few of the Hill Ghana trainees that had been reported from the regions and districts as having found employment, although not at Ghana Health Service, but still on the scheme. And this was not the reason the scheme was set up. The particular module Hill Ghana was set up.
Hold on, please.
So we stopped.
Hold on. She's back on the line. Let's just
All
get
right, please,
her.
let's hear.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hi, I'll need you to speak up, okay? We don't have much time. So you are saying that they said they couldn't pay you, or they hadn't paid you because of what?
They didn't tell us anything. No. They told us they were doing verification. That was since April.
What kind of verification?
They told us to submit our certificates and other documents, and we did all that.
Okay.
But I think last month, they paid some portion of us, and they left others. I work at Lekma Hospital.
You work at
In the
Lekma?
whole facility.
Hold on. You work at
In the whole
Lekma?
facility, they paid only 2 people, and they left 10 people.
They paid 2 people and left 10 people.
10 people, yes, please. I work at Lekma Hospital.
So are you one of those who has not been paid for the last 8 months?
For the since the beginning of this year, they paid us February, January, February, March. That was all from the beginning of this year.
And you have not received anything?
I've never received anything again.
But all this while you were working under Nabco?
Please come again.
All this while, were you still under Nabco? Were you
I'm
working?
still there.
You were
I'm
still
still
there even
there.
to the end?
Yes, please. We are all still going to work.
Okay, but did you try to reach out to the secretariat to explain? I mean, for this long, if you've not had...
I even called the coordinator. Yesterday I called him. He said they've not told them anything. So right now he doesn't know how to start. Every single day I've been calling him. I even called the regional coordinator to Baba. He also told me they are doing verification.
Okay, and
So
until...
we are really worried now, because now that we are coming home, we don't have anything to come home with.
So you haven't found a job on the side at all? Because there's an indication that for some of you, you had found jobs in some maybe private hospitals.
I have my PIN. I have my PIN. I have my certificate from Ghana Health Service. I haven't gotten any permanent job.
But that's what we're being told by Doc now, that for all who met the requirements from...
We have a page.
Hold on.
Majority of us have not been recruited.
But he says that for all of you who met the requirements, hold on. He says for all of you who met the requirements from Ghana Health Service, you had been recruited, and that just about 2,000 of you are left. And those who are left who have not been recruited into permanency is because they did not meet the requirements of the Ghana Health Service.
Because majority of us have our pins and our certificates from Ghana Health Service.
Okay.
So those who are not qualified are those who did the 6-month course and stuff. At least they should give their money to them, so that at least if they want to do any business, they can start the business with. In my department like this, there's a lady who, a mother of 2. She doesn't have anything to feed her children. It's very an eyesore. Last time as I called you, I told you that my mom is not well. I'm paying with her. What to eat is a problem. Only me 7 months. How can I go about doing my normal daily duty? It's not easy for me. It's not easy for all of us. So please, we are begging him. If they are not recruiting us, they should kindly pay us our 7 months so that we can look elsewhere.
So at the moment, what are you doing? Are you back home?
No, today I'm off.
So you're still working at Lekma?
Lekma Theatre, yes, please.
No, but I mean, there was a letter that was, released to all of you.
I saw that they didn't take any letter to the facilities in which we are working. So we don't know whether we should stop or we should still be going. Yesterday we went to see our DD, but when we went, she wasn't around. Then we have to go back to our various department.
So at this point, you don't know if you even be paid at the end of the month, even if you still continue to go to work?
No, but at the end of the month, they told us they will not pay us. But now we are just going because we can't stay at home. People will be asking. And then we say, now we will pay alive, those kind of things. So we are just going to the work. What we need now is our money. You should pay us our 7 months so that at least we can start something on our own.
How many of you?
Nothing at all.
How many of you are owed 7 months? Do you know?
In my department, we are about 10.
No, but the entire Ghana, I'm sure you have
are
platforms, right? Do you know how many of you across the country are owed the 7 months?
No, I don't.
You don't.
But most people in that page, it's devoted Hill Ghana. We are many. They just pay a few people. I think last month, one Tuesday, they started paying. We're hoping that maybe normally the payments come Friday. So we were hoping that by Friday we'll get ours. But it didn't come. Then I called my coordinator and he said I should exercise patience till Monday. Then we take it from there.
Okay.
Any training session they will say they are organizing, I make sure I go. They send me a message, there was this recent training they did. They send a message across. So how come when they are paying, they let some with us? That's wickedness. We are going through a lot. That's what I'm talking to you, so I'm not feeling well. But medication for us to buy is very...
How do you get money to go to work?
Every morning when I wake up, my mom will be complaining.
Yeah, to which that you go to work without getting paid. So who gives you money to go to work every day? Is it your mom?
Sometimes you borrow from people. And right now, that money, when they give it to me, the people I'm owing, it's not easy. My mom is not working. I'm the one taking care of her.
Oh, so you were taking care of her from the 700 you were receiving every month?
Yes, please.
Was it enough?
I was managing.
All right.
I was managing.
Do you feel let down by government?
Very, because when it was time for the election, what I did, I was trying to organize people to do the voting. I was a polling agent myself. I did all my best, and this thing has turned up this way. I'm very disappointed. Very, very disappointed.
You were a polling agent, so you were rallying people to vote for the party. Any particular reason? Is it because you are, a member of the party, maybe, or just because of a promise that was made that you will get permanency?
Oh, the promise too was passed, but from day one, I've been MPP.
Supporter.
What do you call it? Member or whatever.
Okay, all right.
But the promise too was passed.
All right. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for speaking to us.
We are begging him. That's why I'm not feeling well. You see, I'm having a network problem. I'm out of my house to stand at a place to call. So please, I'm begging him. We should try and let our money come this week or next week so that we can be able to start something on our own. We are begging him.
All right. Doc, I'll let you hold on. We'll read some messages. We're getting the indication that a lot of the messages that are coming in as well are from the Heal Ghana beneficiaries. So, Cookie, thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome. Now, this one, very first one says, Bella, please ask Doctor whether the MPP government did promise Nabco trainees permanency during the 2020 general elections. Now, Ras Otopic from Remane Sukuma says, please ask Mr. Nyaz, Dr. Nyaz, whether those who chose permanent employment on the career paths are going to get it or not. Now, this one says, please, some of us still have arrears for 2020 from February to July, still not paid. Good morning. Please ask Doctor what happened to the promises they made to get us permanent employment after the 3 years. MC Larry D sent in that one. Now, this one says, please ask our CEO about the fate as educate trainees after the 3 years upon all the promises the president made to us. All that he's saying is not relevant to us now. What we want to hear is the plan for us. Bella, Dr. Nyas is always dodging the questions on permanency, going round and round the question. Please do not let him beat around the bush this time around. Please probe him to be specific on whether the permanency promised us is going to be a reality or not. TV3, what he just said that the GES recruited some Nabco trainees into the teaching field, I think it's not true. And this one came from Kofi in the Upper East region. Good morning. Please ask Doc that we in the Heal Ghana module, our allowances have delayed for almost 7 months. Is there a reason? Because we were told that the trainees engaged by the public sector have to be audited by the controller. And as we speak, our portal is showing final verification at the district levels for about 5 months now. Good morning, TV3. I salute you for the good work you're doing, Bella, Cookie, and Johnny. Please ask him to consider the Educate model for the GES employment, because we have 1 year in national service and also 3 years in Nabco. I think that we have enough experience on the job market to be employed. Sani from Kumasi sent in that one. Bella, good morning. I can boldly tell you that what the man is saying is not accurate or true, because most of us declined based on late payments without even informing the authority. Can you find out from Doc concerning those Nabco owed, especially with the Heal Ghana module? We are told those people have challenges with their qualifications to be on the scheme. But the point is, how were they even selected in the first place? Only to find out later by the Secretariat, and then the allowances also stopped. If all these were not for politics. Good morning, TV3. Good show you're doing. Thank you very much for your good work. I'm a Nabco beneficiary on the Heal Ghana module who hasn't received my stipends for 5 months now, and nothing is going on. Please, they should do something about it. We are living in stress. Okay. Good morning, Bella. I'm a beneficiary of Nabco, and with regards to our CEO saying interns were prioritized in recruitment at the public, I don't think that's true. I want to ask him if he's saying that based on the president's comments during the Nabco anniversary, or he's saying that on fact. Good morning. Those of us under the Heal Ghana module haven't been paid for 7 months now. And if they are saying those of us are owed because we didn't submit all that he mentioned, is not true. Good morning. Please ask about those trainees who have not been paid for 7 months. All right, Bella, please tell Dr. Anyas that a lot of us having families and dependents to take care of. They should fear God and make us permanent to survive and also take care of our families. Now, 23 Nabco trainees in the Bongo district of the Upper East region were declined by the Nabco coordinator, Doctor, since August 2020. And the months we worked for, they have never paid us, while we were still working with the hope that they will reinstate us. Sources say these trainees voted against the then DCE, Peter Ayimbisa, who contested the parliamentary seats. The question is, even if all Nabco trainees in the Bongo voted for the DCE, will he win? They never paid us till the end of the program. Last one says, Bella, kindly ask Dr. Anyas again what he is planning to do with the Nabco recruitment when the current trainees are at home unemployed. Kwakua from Kumasi sent in that one.
Thank you so much, Cookie. A quick one. So Rexford Ninote is also texting, and he's one of our viewers on Facebook. He says that I'm Rexford, a Nabco trainee working with the Judicial Service. Bella, over the 3 years, I've worked as a court clerk, a bailiff, and even an interpreter whenever the substantive interpreter goes on leave. Please, I've had a series of recommendations from my previous magistrate, my registrar, and the current magistrate that I'm working with. Please, Bella, all effort to get me recruited has proven futile. Yet, for the past 3 years, Judicial Service has done numerous recruitments. And Gode, finally, I'm a Nabco trainee with Ijura Municipal Health Directorate. I hold a BSc in accounting. I've worked for the past 3 years under Ghana Health Service. Just this April 2021, GHS posted a guy into my office accounts who did entrepreneurship at tertiary level as a finance officer. What now is my fate? And these are, I mean, if you go through the comments, you see a lot of them like this. I want you to respond to the Heal Ghana, concern, first of all, and then we'll come back to this particular issue. Why they have not received their monies for the last, say, 8 months.
I feel very encouraged by a lot of the issues that
have been raised.
Cookie read out. If you look back before 2017, there was nothing on the employment landscape called the Nation Builders Corps. Thanks to the visionary leadership of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, today we have over 100,000 people from within the graduate space, who have been supported over a period.
What's the point if they don't have permanent jobs? What's the point if they've not been paid for 8 months?
I think that you have to give me a chance to explain this, because there's a very interesting pattern, even from the feedback we get from outside. So we enrolled over 100,000 people onto this scheme over a period of time. Majority of them, I'm very certain, have had a very good experience and also have moved on to do something thanks to being exposed to the world of work and thanks to the experiences and skills development that they have had. Now, if you look at specifically each of the modules were designed deliberately. Educate Ghana was designed to try and achieve multiple objectives. The very first was to make sure that for people who saw themselves as having careers in education in the future could enroll onto that module, considering their own career pathway. It could be in the public sector, it could be in the private sector. But then think about it. The reason for calling it nation builders was to make sure actually the country could also benefit from the sort of intellectual infrastructure we had. These were graduates, some of them with higher national diploma degrees.
You've said this already.
I haven't said that. I'm just trying to give you a background to why some people would present the issues as they do.
Okay.
And so you would have all those who enrolled onto various modules enroll onto them through self-selection based on what they thought their career prospects would be. So if someone enrolled onto Hill Ghana, for example, knowing full well that I have gone to an institution, not a public health institution that is recognized by NMC, and that, for example, I know government has an obligation to recruit from. If you make that career choice yourself, as I did in studying political science from the University of Ghana, then what it means is that schemes like Nabco, which was initiated, has come as a lifesaver to you. Why? Because by taking you onto the scheme, we were able to expose you to what the real world of work presents over a period of 3 years for you to be able to gain essential work readiness skills, but also to figure out clearly what your thinking is with the sort of career you'd want to take on. Now, Hill Ghana,
being exposed to the fact that you could work for a year and not be paid?
There is no one who has worked for, and that's what they're telling you. That's why I said I found this very encouraging, because Nabco has been run in a very democratic way and has been run in a way that is very transparent. Every Nabco trainee, and they can tell you this, and I'm very excited by this, every Nabco trainee who has an issue this morning, real time, can tell you that I have this issue and this is the reason, unless they're being disingenuous. They don't tell you why.
But we listened to the
So I'm giving you the breakdown. The lady from Hill Ghana tells you that...
They were what?
The lady from Hill Ghana tells you that she's not been paid for a period of 7 months.
Yes.
And she tells you the reason for non-payment, that they were stopped because we're doing a verification. And I'm going to give you the breakdown. Through the verification, what came to our attention, that after they had applied to join the scheme, by the 3rd year, for module by module, those we had sent monitors out to seek their documentation, we categorized them. So for Hill Ghana, for example, the first category was, at the end of it, no document submitted for verification and no signature from trainees through their district coordinators and regional, 557. No copy of certificate submitted at the verification, 73. No signed stamped official letter from the place of work, 8 of them. Some documents submitted but verification not signed by either trainee or district court, 172. Indicated NMC certification with other documents. So we had 289 of them who came with the requisite, that is out of the 1,300 who are still on Hill Ghana, who came with the right documentation. And those people, they're telling you from this telephone conversation that those people were paid at their workplace, and yet some of them are still waiting and not paid.
They were paid at their workplace?
They have been paid.
By
She tells you that 10, Nabco paid them. She says
she
that
says
10...
only for January and February.
No. What she tells you is that when we started the verification, we paid them for January and February. But she's saying that recently, Nabco has paid some Hill Ghana trainees at her workplace.
Yeah.
If you look at the Hill Ghana trainees, she says that at her workplace, out of 10 of them, about 2 of them were paid. And I'm telling you, those 2 people would fall in the 289 people who have fully complied with the verification that we asked for. If you come to the data, non-nurse trainees with NSS, we had 323, and then we had all requested documents submitted for verification. We also had 44 added to the 289. And these people, over 300 of them, were those that we paid a couple of, just about last month. The others have been told directly, and I can tell you the wording of the messages we sent to them, directly, that if you have not submitted this, you will be marked for deletion and not be paid. The reason is very simple. We have to act. This is a public purse. We account for every money that is being given us to pay.
So when you say directly, was it via phone? Was it via the portal?
No. So they get notification via the portal, and then we send them SMS, bulk SMS, targeted at each one of them, telling them what your issue. I can read a sample message for you.
Okay.
Some documents submitted, but verification not signed by either. So it says, the verification sheet upon submission of your documents were neither not signed by yourself, DC or RC, and therefore cannot be processed. And they get given these messages, and we're calling for action from your end. And until you do that, you can't blame Nabco. Nabco trainees out of the entirety of the 68,000 who have this problem currently are the Hill Ghana lot. And for those of them who have been paid, I think that if you speak to them, they will equally be part of the lot that are now waiting for their September and October, which is the majority of this. So you don't have the sort of issues that, for example, from the very implementation stage, the difficulties with processing ease-wage and the challenges of paying Nabco trainees. These are historical problems that was only incidental to the very phase,
so what's
initial
next
phase
for
of the
them?
program.
If they don't, do they have to come to the secretariat?
No, they only just need
to
to forward their documents through their regional coordinators, and then they.
But she said they forwarded their documents.
That's what she says, but I'm telling you what we have based on the data. This is as recent as 7th October, before they got to the very end, and they haven't done what we have requested of them. I have no interest in not paying Nabco trainees. I mean, what would be the basis for that? If somebody goes to work, they meet the qualifying period, they submit their timesheet, a valid timesheet, they get paid. We have no interest whatsoever in some of these delays, but we remain accountable. And for those who don't follow the rules, and let me just make a comment on, there was an issue about a promise for permanency.
Did you promise that?
Well, I was going to ask you that because I've heard repeatedly that there was a promise made for permanency.
Did you not promise that before the 2020 elections? We have a story where you were said to have said something. In fact, it was on Asasi Radio, asasiradio.com. And if we can just project that as well, where it talks about, the headline said, we promise permanency. And this is, by the way, GH1, this was in the news sometime back before the 2020 elections at the manifesto launch.
So let's hear it.
It said that, permanency had been promised. I'm trying to pull up that story, by the way. Oliver, can you put up that story, the link on Asasi Radio, so we can read that one in particular? That also said that all Nabco beneficiaries were going to get permanency. Let me just pull it up on my phone.
But I mean, as we speak, we have this conversation.
Okay, so there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. All Nabco beneficiaries will be employed permanently, CEO assures Trainee. So it says the Chief Executive Officer of the Nation Builders Corps, Dr. Ibrahim Anyas, has assured all beneficiaries of the Nabco intervention that they will be gainfully employed by the end of the 36-month cycle of the first cohort to enter the program. Speaking at a ceremony to officially launch the celebration of the second year of Nabco under the theme, Getting Our Graduates to Work, the beginning of the transition to permanent jobs, Dr. Anyas said right from the onset, the scheme had in place an exit plan for all beneficiaries. This will be fully implemented before the 36th cycle concludes at the end of 2021. There's a second page, by the way, if we can also project that.
I think we need to see it.
So we read that as well. There's a second page. Maybe I'll just go onto my phone and read that as well. Hold on. I'm just trying to pull it up so I can read the full story. Or if you can open the link for me. Oliver, I sent you a link. Okay. Let me just read that. It's opened here. No, it hasn't. But I mean, did you not promise permanency as I tried to find it?
Let me address that. So what you have is, from the very first anniversary of the Nabco scheme, this was 17 October in 2019, at the National Theatre, we defined clearly the exit pathways. And the pathways were permanency through either the public sector or the private sector, entrepreneurship, or a career-focused further learning. And this was to cover everyone who came on board the Nabco vehicle, right? So as a program, this was the logical destination for our trainees, that they were engaged in a graduate employment scheme, with the logical destination being that we see all of them in the world of work eventually, thanks to what we have done for them. through the skills training, through the work experience that we have given them, through the professional trainings that we have given them. And it was rightly so. And this was very clear. The pathways have never been varied. From the very day the president launched this at the Independence Square, it was very clear what we said, and it still remains what we have said.
But she said this in October 2020.
Yeah, but I'm saying read the entirety of it. It will tell you that it comes down to a breakdown of the career pathways. Because I spoke on this matter at the launch initially at the Accra Digital Center. And there is a video on our Facebook
so you never
page.
promised permanency?
I don't understand what that means, but I tell you, I think
Nabco Trainee say you promised them permanency
what
before
does that
the 2020
mean?
elections.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Which is why they voted to retain the NPP in power. I mean, we
Bella,
have Remember Me all across the country. Those
Bella,
billboards with a young man with his face looking very sad and morose.
Bella,
and it said, "Remember me."
What does permanency
my
mean?
Nabco training depends on you or so. Can we project that
Bella,
picture as well?
What does permanency mean?
You tell me what permanency
Exactly.
means. These people are saying that you put us into a scheme temporarily for
employability.
training. But you told us that
Yes.
you will make us permanent, which is why we voted. Did you not?
I have made it very clear that this program that was initiated was an employability program. And employability, if you look at the very definitions of what the labor experts will tell you,
That's by the way is the Remember Me picture. My livelihood depends on your vote.
Is the individual's ability to either gain an access to the workplace or retain their access within the workspace. That's what employability seems. And what we try to do with the Nation Builder Score was to enhance the employability profile. And just rightly so, the program has been successful. From the beginnings, when we had the 100,000 people enrolled onto the scheme, by the third year, over 49,000 of them have transitioned into some kind of permanent employment, majority of them. Others have transitioned to find some work to do, either in the private sector or entrepreneurship. But clearly on the exit arrangements, the entrepreneurship angle is something, and I don't want to preempt what the Minister of Finance is going to be saying in the budget. But clearly every Nabco trainee knows that what was said to them from the start, that at the exit point, the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, then the NBSSI2, which is now Ghana Enterprises Agency, and now currently, if you look at the architecture, things are coming on stream like the U-Bank. All these are opportunities in the third year of the program and at the exit point for our Nabco graduates to be able to access and be able to do something meaningful for themselves. For those who still see themselves finding a career in the public sector, they stay on the talent pool and then they get hired as and when the opportunities come up.
As and when, so there are no timelines. It could be the next 2 years, 3 years.
What do you expect? That we just hand out employment letters at the exit point?
Or maybe even after the NPP has gone out of power, and then what happens to them?
Why are you reducing it to the politics of an election? I think that the commitment
Nabco
was to...
not an initiative of the current government?
I think that the commitment was to support the graduates of this country. And if you speak to them, I think that we have to be able to find space to understand the value that has been added to a Nabco trainee who joined the scheme from 2018 and where they are at by the exit point. Because this is a very important investment that was made. Cumulatively, if you look at the average Nabco trainee, aside from for example, the overplayed stipends that we tend to dwell on. At the individual level, on a monthly basis, the value addition, the skills training, and all the things that are invested into these trainees, I think that it will make sense for the public to also hear an engagement like this with a Nabco trainee who tells their story and what the journey has been and what they believe that the scheme has afforded them thanks to that investment.
But do you seek to take the politics out of this? And I'm asking this because when we take a look again at the Remember Me poster, we saw party colors in there. Along even the red, gold, green, we see red, white, and blue.
What is wrong with an adult indicating that, as far as they are concerned, if you look at the picture post prior to the 2016 election, for example, that we had a situation where there was a total ban on employment, right?
Okay.
A total ban on employment.
Was this not used for politics?
Please.
Was this not used for elections?
I'm just saying.
Because we saw the president post this on his Twitter page as well.
I am just making a point.
Was it not to get you re-elected?
I am making a point.
What do we mean by remember me then?
For these graduates who would have made a decision, rightly so, that their fate would lie in a government that would actually consider and prioritize young people, which President Akufo-Addo did. I believe that it was right, for the government to account publicly and to make visible what we had done within the graduate space. And I think that for a graduate, for it to be highlighted, the very one district, one factory, nation builders co, all these things, you have billboards of them around. And clearly, what it was stating was to say that this is the impact we have made in the lives of people in this country. And I don't see what could be wrong with that.
Did Nabco have a hand in the Remember Me billboard?
The Nabco trainees themselves, and I traveled around a lot of places in this country during the campaign, some of them took it upon themselves to go out and canvass for the re-election of this government. I'm asking for the
billboard and this particular campaign that said, Remember Me. My livelihood depends on your vote. Did the Nabco Secretariat have a hand in this?
I am saying that you would have found all manner of billboards around the country trying to canvass support.
Is this coming from you? You are the one running the scheme.
Did
this campaign come from the Secretariat?
I tell you, I ran in the campaign in 2020,
yes,
in 2016 and in 2020. And in 2020, I had a few billboards sponsored, not with my direct initiation.
So these are from Nabco beneficiaries?
Just listen, I'm saying sponsored within my constituency by Nabco trainees without recourse to me. And I believe that you would have had people who will canvass for votes for a particular party or the other because they believe that actually if a particular party came to power, as President Akufo-Addo did, he was going to champion our cause. And that's exactly what happened. So
can anybody just get up and put up a billboard or use the Nabco logo to promote? Let's just say that we're heading into 2024 elections. Anybody at all can put it up and say, remember me? I mean, we saw the president use it.
You should visit Facebook. You would have your answer to this question.
No, but I'm asking you. You are here. There's no need to go on Facebook.
I'm just trying to draw your attention. You would have a lot of pages of probably Bella or a lot of pages on Nabco, purporting to be Nabco Secretariat, and then sponsoring all manner of viewpoints. Listen, at the end of the day, the essential point to make is that Nabco has made an impact on the lives of young people, young graduates in this country. And I don't think it is fair to reduce that impact and the confidence building empowerment that has been given to this graduate, to reduce it to a banter around who sponsored a billboard and who did not sponsor
I brought that in because I asked you earlier that what happens, let's just say, if the NPP goes out of power and these people have not received permanent employment, because we don't have timelines as to when they would receive that employment. And you were saying we shouldn't bring politics into it, which is why I brought up that billboard, because clearly that billboard was used to get votes for the NPP to retain power. As
far as permanent employment, and let's be fair, as far as permanent employment, all Nabco trainees who left the scheme on 31st of October would have chosen a pathway. We have to give it time to see how many of them, of the exiters, the 67,000 odd people, how many of them, let's say by early next year, for example, would have still remained on the talent pool and looking to be hired by the public sector. And for those who will have a change of career as it happens, to decide that they were going to be engaged in entrepreneurship, how many of them get supported thanks to, for example, the new initiatives or the other initiatives that already exist?
Are you not reopening the portal for another batch of Nabco trainees to sign on?
So the first cohort is done based on the conversation we have had, and hopefully there will be a directive to take on a future cohort.
When is that going to happen?
Well, we have to wait for the budget, and then I'm sure that we can have this conversation.
Okay. Speaking of the budget, how much have we spent so far on Nabco in the last 3 years? The last time the finance minister spoke in November 2019, he said we had spent 840 million.
I think he was referring
for that year.
I think he was referring to that year.
Yes.
So what happens is that the funds will always vary, and it's for a reason, because the numbers change, and you have to stay true to the numbers. At enrollment, what was provisioned, if you recall, in 2018 was 600 million Ghana cedis. And because of the delayed start to the commencement of the program, in the end, only part of that was accessed, and 50% of those funds were accessed for the initiation of the program in 2018.
So how much was
that?
No.
In
2018?
In 2018. And then because we're at our peak in 2019, 850 million was...
850 was
850.
at that time. That was supposed to be for 100,000
in 2020, yes,
beneficiaries.
because we're at our
but
peak.
But the finance minister quoted 97,373 at that time. So
I'm
we
just,
even asked questions. I remember Johnny had an interview where he was asking that 840 million is 100 people. If you calculate 700 Ghana cedis every month for the 1 year, that's for 100,000 people. But the finance minister quoted 97,373. Where's the rest of the money?
I think that there's some of the conversation lost in translation. So what we stated, through this conversation, you'll follow that whenever people left, even at the time that the 97,000 was being quoted, we had opportunity to replace people, and so we will always bring the numbers back to 100,000, and so our budget would have to stay within the 100,000 to make allowances or to afford us the opportunity to not default in terms of our payment obligation to trainees who we take on. Okay. And then in 2020 it was 840 million, and so what you have currently, because of the reduced numbers, is 672 million from the 2021 budget, and we wait to see what the future projection will be. So
overall for the 117, how much have we spent? Do you have the overall figure?
So what you would have is, if you have to look at for realistic releases relative to what the budget projection is going to be, there will be variations. So we would have spent something in excess of over 2 billion Ghana cedis.
Coco, please permit me just 2 more questions and we'll go. Pardon me. Now, first of all, there was a concern about SNITS payments and the fact that, the Nabco trainees were not getting any SNITS contributions from Nabco. Was that supposed to be part of the plan?
No. I mean, it was very clear what this was about. This was a skills development program to allow for trainees, graduates, unemployed graduates to be taken as into the employment talent pool. And so the arrangement was never to pay SNIT and then to pay
we kept calling it
to pay
jobs.
as you
so
earn.
If
Does that not make it a job?
Yeah, but if I'm working, then I should have my SNITS contributions paid.
Well, look at employment. It's the contractual obligation of someone to pay you for a service done. But in this case, we had a contextually appropriate scheme which allowed our graduates to be put in the workplace.
They helped GRA to reach their targets. I mean, what happened to that?
But that's why GRA is also asking that they recognize value.
Okay. Finally, by the way, before we go, quick one. So when we're playing the president's speech earlier, he mentioned that the equivalent of the 36 weeks allowance that was paid was going to be given to those who choose entrepreneurship so they can start a venture. When is that happening? So
that's the point I make. So you'll find that at the exit point, we have certain state institutions which are supposed to support the entrepreneurship pathway. You have the likes of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan. You also have the noun Ghana Enterprise Agency, which is NBSSI, former NBSSI. And all these, alongside, it mentioned a private support through the U-Bank initiative. All these will come on stream to support those who choose the pathway to entrepreneurship.
All right, so for all of you Heal Ghana, please check again and make sure that you have all your documents right. I mean, Dr. Anyas is saying that there were some discrepancies. Please check and let us know if you're able to get all the forms and the documents, and make sure you let us know also when you receive your money. If you haven't received this, let us know as well. We'll go back to the secretariat and demand for those payments that are rightly due you. And for all of you as well, we do hope that, like Doc has said, there will be some permanency along the way. Dr. Anyas Ibrahim is the CEO of Nabco, the Nation Builders Corps, and we're waiting to see what the announcement will be after the budget reading by the finance minister as to whether the portal will be reopened for the next batch of Nabco trainees. But a number of things should be fixed. The salary, I mean, they're saying that it's not adequate, so maybe we should relook at that. But that's it for today. We've already spent too much time on this. We have more coming up. We'll be going to K2 South to find out what the situation is currently after the sea, of course, got into homes of people along the coast. We'll be back. This is TV3Newday.